working in the field. Technically, I started as a student in 2018 and then worked for an agency for the past 3.5 years, and now working on my own. And yeah, I've got several thousand hours under my belt now. I'm working mostly with individuals, but a good chunk of my time has been with families and couples. And that's actually where I really jive, is the more people. So the more the merrier. So I feel like I owe it to myself as a professional to make sure that the kind of services that I'm offering are as scientifically based as possible. What seems to be consistent in making sure that people are living happy and healthy lives with themselves as well as with their couples. So oftentimes I'm using what's called a Gottman approach, which is based in an institution that's been running since the 70s. Added to that is some emotion focused therapy, as well as some self-work, learning about the relationship with one's own self, and also an attachment framework. So helping folks understand why they might have the emotional reactions that they do to particular situations and even to themselves. And that seems to be something that provides a very consistent service for my clients. So there's a couple ways that I've summarized what I do, and it kind of comes down to, basically, I get to spend an hour telling people good things about themselves. And another way of putting it is we spend an hour figuring out the ways that you've been lied to and see if I can teach you about the truth. Typically the stuff that folks are showing up with is usually around trying to figure out if they're good enough, and when are they going to be good enough. And it can manifest in a lot of different ways, from addictions to self-harm to suicide ideation, but some of the more simpler things like how do I stay grounded when my partner is bringing something to my attention that I don't like hearing. Because oftentimes people are having trouble connecting when somebody's actually making a bid for connection, but for them it's a sign that they're not good enough. And helping people sit with their partner and be comforted and provide comfort is often where I'm doing most of my work. I've always kind of had a natural passion for this work. I think probably some of it has to do with being a middle child, which the role of mediator is often put on us. And but yeah, I found myself gravitating towards understanding relationships, what makes them work, pretty much my entire life. I also feel that my skills have made me see that there's a lot of needless suffering out there, and with the skills that I can provide, I can bring a lot of peace and happiness and an end to a lot of that. There's a period of transition in my life where I was thinking about maybe doing something with my ability with languages. I happen to have a knack for them, so if you happen to speak French, I can actually do therapy with you in French, which would be an absolute delight. But a moment came in my life where I thought about all the different work that I could do with languages and with its translation or interpretation. And I just found myself always visualizing situations where I was sitting my coworkers down and asking them about their life and what was working. And that kind of just led me to realize that, yeah, I may have a lot of passions, but I think the thing that takes primacy is wanting to help people out with their relationships with others and with themselves. The thing that keeps me passionate about my work is really just rubbing shoulders with the general public, with my own family, getting in tune with social issues, and really seeing that there's a lot of need for help and self-understanding, and really feeling like I have a part to play in this. And I can probably use the metaphor of I have a whole ton of lumber, a whole ton of nails and hammers, and there's people that need houses, and so what am I going to do? In my own life, the helping professions were probably mainly through teachers. I've also, I'm obviously a strong advocate for mental health, so I have had my own therapist as well. And coming together with people who have a particular set of skills, and they help me understand more about myself, whether it's about my physical health or my intellectual health or my emotional health, and seeing just how powerful a single moment can be. Because I remember a moment in my life where people sat me down and they said, "Hey, this career that you've chosen really isn't yours, but the problem isn't because of you, it's because you have an intelligence that might be beyond this current profession." And even though I was in my 20s, that was the first time somebody had actually said something very positive about my intellectual abilities, and it gave me a boost of confidence that I still hold to today. So my clients, I do tend to see a high number of men that come to see me, and I think that that's really great. Me also being identifying as a cisgendered male, I know that there's often some things that we face that can go unaddressed. There might often feel like there's sometimes that you want to bring up something that might affect you as a man, but there's so much else going on in the world that it seems to affect everybody else that there doesn't seem like there's space. So there's issues that are important to you that need to be addressed, and this is a good space to sit with somebody who's maybe gone through some similar things, and we can come together to figure out what would work well for you. Outside of the office, I tend to try to capitalize on some of the languages that I have learned. So I am an avid learner of Spanish as well as American Sign Language. This is really a lot of fun. I do encourage people to do that. I also like to travel a little bit, mainly in Canada, and I recently got to go to Montreal for the eclipse, and being able to communicate in a couple languages out there was definitely helpful. I'm very much into fitness, so I'm working out 5 or 6 days a week, get a run in, and I have a few friends and a partner that I like to spend a lot of time with as well, so those are some of the ways that I occupy my time. One of my favorite quotes is something that I came across recently, which is that we have Neolithic emotions in medieval institutions and godlike technology. And when I came across that quote, I didn't really feel like there was anything that really encapsulated the human experience so succinctly. And dealing with our emotions and calling them Neolithic, it kind of seems like it's a little bit condescending, but it may be the reality, and I don't feel it's a problem. It's more about just understanding what it's like to be us. And I think especially the amount of grief that we give ourselves using our godlike technology through our medieval institutions to try to communicate our Neolithic emotions to the people that we want to be close with can often cause way more trouble than it's worth. And being able to deal with emotions that are designed to fend off a saber-toothed tiger attack while talking about the political issues of the day is extraordinarily complex, especially when you have technology that doesn't allow us to convey tone. The thing that I like to bring is attunement with self in those kinds of situations, and that can be really helpful in understanding some of the chaos that can come in this world of all these three things. Self-regulation is something that I like to do through a physical aspect. So oftentimes I find myself needing to be angry about something or needing to grieve something, and setting an intent for a particular meditation or a run or even going out dancing can be something that I find very grounding, and saying this is going to be how I commemorate that life went in a direction that I didn't want it to go. And I find myself feeling a lot of relief afterwards, and having made sense of what's happened. It gives me a moment to really be attuned to the person that I am in that moment and not stuck in all the times that I've maybe been harmed. The message that I think I'd like to convey to folks coming to see me is that when I go out into this world and I communicate with people, and I try to use some of the skills that I have as a therapist that I've learned and grown with, it doesn't really work. And the reason is because the majority of the people out there, they don't necessarily recognize that how they might be interacting with themselves or other people isn't conducive to closeness and a strong relationship. And so the skills that I have are essentially useless in those circumstances. But when you come to therapy, there's a willingness that I see in my clients to learn and to grow and to do right by themselves, to be the kind of person that they want to be. And that's really when my skills are useful. So when you come, you've already done most of the work.